Hello everybody and welcome back to the second shelf and to the second Man Booker Longlist review video. Quite a mouthful. But anyway, I said earlier that I will not read the whole long list probably, but at least some of them, and the books I read I will review separately. And the second book I read from the long list, I sort of read them in the order of, in alphabetical order of the author, makes it easiest for me. But anyway, the second book I read was Anna Burns' Milkman, published earlier this year in May. Now, Anna Burns is an Irish author. She was born in Belfast. She moved to London when she was about 20 or something. And weirdly enough, for whatever reason, she is not listed as an Irish author in the list of the long-listed books. There are two Irish authors listed there, the long list, I believe the long list down below. But I think that caused some confusion, but I think what it means is that her book was published in the UK, I guess, and that she lives in London. I don't really know, but for me, she is an Irish author. Milkman is, I think, her second or third novel, and is set in Ireland. It's an unnamed city, but it's most likely Belfast in the late 1970s, 1979-ish, during what is called the Troubles, so the Northern Irish conflict. The main character is an unnamed 18-year-old girl called only the middle sister. All the protagonists in the books are not referred to by name, but by position in the family or the community. So the protagonist who tells us the story in first person is the middle sister. Then there is eldest sister and first brother-in-law. There is Ma and Pa. And there is a guy she calls somebody Mac somebody. So right from the start, as a reader, we realize that this book is about community and the position you have in a certain community and how important the community is for the setup of the book. The book then is more or less a stream of consciousness-ish way of telling the story of middle sister. She tells us about her life, about work, but the main plot, if you can call it that, is when an older man, only referred to as the milkman, shows some interest in her. He is married, he's in his 40s, but he shows interest in her, and then the rumor starts growing that she has an affair with him. People are gossiping. There is no affair anywhere, but still the gossip and the hearsays grow, and the neighbors come to her mother's house and talk to her about that. Eldest sister comes to her and talks. So the story is about, in the center of the story is this presumed affair between the 18-year-old protagonist and Milkman, but it's not at all a plot-oriented novel. Like I already said, there is a stream of consciousness from middle sister telling us about her life, and it's quite, it's flowing, and it's at times really funny in the sense of witty humor. How she reflects on her life and on her neighbors and on her mother and on the conflict and the political issues. I really liked that, and I thought the writing was very strong. I thought the setting was interesting, the point of view of a young girl looking at this community and at this very high-strung political conflict. And we get this feeling of a very claustrophobic community where people are watching each other, and not in a good way. I mean, not watching out for each other, but really watching each other, whether you are politically on the right side, whether you are morally on the right side, and obviously an 18-year-old girl having an affair, even if it's not true, but if she had an affair with a 40-year-old married man, that's not morally correct. So people are involved in each other's lives very much, but not in a good way. And I think Anna Burns really brilliantly captures this atmosphere. You feel really choked when you read this. So I thought the writing was really brilliant, and that the atmosphere captured me. I ended up not loving the book, but that is much more a reflection, I think, of my personal taste than a reflection of the quality of the book. There are many people who really love this book, and I mentioned in my first Man Booker video the Goodreads group, which I can again really recommend if you're interested in discussing the Man Booker longlisted books. I will leave a link to the Man Bookering group down below. Interesting discussions. We disagree a lot, but sometimes we also agree. And in this group, a lot of people who admired the writing and the structure of the book, this flowing stream of consciousness with humor and eye for detail. They rated this book really high in the ranges, 4 or 5 stars, what you do on Goodreads. For me, it was not that kind of read, but again, that's because of my personal preference. I'm just too much of a plot-oriented reader to enjoy a book over a lengthy period of time, page-wise, when not very much is happening. Then I just lose interest a bit, even though I can see that the writing is brilliant, and even though I'm interested in the setting, and I think our protagonist, our narrator, is really doing a good job, but it loses me a bit. So if you check my Goodreads rating and you think, well, that's only a 3-star book, that's the reason why. I still think this is a book that I wouldn't be surprised if it were to be shortlisted, because I think, again, the writing is really strong, and the atmosphere that is captured in the book that's brilliantly done, but it was not quite a book for me. So if you look for more a character study book with quite some, quirks and funny turns, and this strange way of referring to people by their position within a group or a family rather than by name, I think you might like this book even more than I did, and I can certainly recommend it, because even though I have to say it's not quite my kind of book, I still think it's very good. So this was a better experience certainly than the book I reviewed last time, Snap by Belinda Bauer. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Let me know whether you read the book and what you thought about it, or whether you are interested in reading and whether you follow the Man Booker at all. And thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all soon in my next video. Bye-bye.